Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Rolling Out a Seat at the Table. I'm Christina Steed, and I'm very excited to talk about and with today's guest about jobs and the opportunity for jobs, skill set acquisition, things that we talk a lot about on Rolling Out, and opportunities for our communities in particular to have access to different job opportunities. So joining me today is Rachel Torres. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Christina. Nice to meet you. Nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Good to meet you. And we're so excited about, you pretty much have the plug in terms of jobs, right? In terms of how our youth can get involved in the new sectors of jobs, emerging sectors, different things in technology. But first, I'd love to start with you telling me about the work that you do at the Office of Job Corps.
Hi, yes, I'm happy to do this. This is a passion of mine. So I am the National Director of Job Corps, which means I do oversee the entire Job Corps program. It is the largest residential program for vocational training. We currently have 121 centers across the country, including one in every state and Puerto Rico and Washington in the District of Columbia. So we're pretty well spread out. I mean, even if you go to Hawaii, you will find a Job Corps center for that's available to our youth. And to talk a bit about Job Corps itself, if you remember when the days you were in high school, you had friends who really were set to go to college, and some were like, I do not want to go to college. And guess what? It's okay. You don't have to. And this is where Job Corps comes into play. Particularly, our focus is in low-income communities that maybe they're not able to afford to go to college, or hasn't even been told that college isn't even an option. So this is an opportunity to support the youth population ages 16 to 24, and we do have waivers for students who are above 24 and with disabilities. So we have some room there to accommodate our students, but it is for 16 to 24 to actually they come to our center. It is a residential program at no cost to them. They reside there. And they either get their GED or high school diploma, and some already come with those already, but they learn a trade. And the way we work, and you mentioned in the beginning about jobs, the way we work is we assess the high demand jobs, the high demand areas that are facing the community, and ensure that we are training our students in those areas. Because at the end of the day, what we want them to be able to is after they leave Job Corps is to start a career, not just a job, is to start a career, because longevity matters. And that's where you want them to be sustainable in the future.
Mm-hmm. So I love what you said about not everyone wants to go to college, and that's okay. I think that conjunction in that sentence is very, very important, because there are opportunities beyond that 4-year track, or, whatever the track that we're used to hearing about. Can you talk a little bit about the needs of the workforce and the skill sets that are becoming more increasingly in demand for this group of people?
Oh, I mean, that's a thing I would love to. This is especially after the pandemic, there's something we've been really, really, really looking at. For the first time, I have employers knocking on our doors and saying, we are looking for workers. But what does that mean? We have employers in the hospitality area. We have in the healthcare industry. We have in the construction industry, especially if you heard about the infrastructure bill that was passed, last year. There's work available, but there's a shortage. Trucking, there's such a shortage of truck drivers, and they are coming and looking for how they can get workers. And we say, here, partner with us. we are training these students, and you could hire them. Now, many of our trades we provide foundational skills, and then we expand some of them into more technical, and sometimes we have advanced training. But we do have a number of employers who are just coming to us and saying, we want to work with you. Perfect example. In the Memphis area, Tennessee Valley Authority, they cover quite a bit of the southeast part of the United States, and they came to us to partner in creating linemen for their wiring out in the area. And the funny thing about it is, like, with the challenges they've had with outage in the past few years because of natural disasters, they've come and said, we have a shortage of people to go and fix those lines. We take this for granted when we don't have electricity because as a result of a natural disaster. There are folks that are needed to actually work and do this. So they partner with us to say, we'll help you train. We'll come in. We have a partnership where we come into Job Corps. We train these students and then we hire them afterward. So that is a great way of really linking us to the reality of the job market out there.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a great example. And when you talked about that, the employers are now coming to you looking for workers in these different industries. We hear on the news a lot about, there's not enough workers, people aren't working, but it's not, it's there's another layer to the story, right? It's that how are the workplaces of today meeting what the employees want? And 16 to 24, that's Gen Z. So not only are they looking at opportunities to create wealth and get paid, but the values of these companies and industries, right? So can you talk a little bit about even just the feedback from the young people who are involved in the program and these job opportunities?
Mm-hmm. They want to be able. So I want to back up a minute. One of the challenges I at times with the population that we serve, which is an incredible youth population, and if you spend any time at Job Corps Center, you speak to them. It's like the brightest of students out there. One of the challenges that we find very often is the concern with access. It's unfortunately what's possible may not be in their mind yet. It's still, even though it is a generation that is really ahead of a lot of other generations. I have to admit that. But sometimes with the population that we serve, it's not clear yet that these are opportunities that are out there. Right. Some have said that I didn't know that was a possibility. I didn't know even after I leave Job Corps, I can actually still go to college. I could go. For example, we'll partner with community colleges to have maybe co-enrollment piece. I think what the work that we are doing is very different than your traditional Gen Zs, because we are bringing a population that says, yes, you can do this. Yes, we can help you. Yes, we will develop you and train you and help you transition into a career as an opportunity that's available for you to grow. So I think that's where we're a bit different. And understanding that, and this is the conversation I have a lot with my centers, understanding that the need between, and this is gonna most likely resonate with your audience, the need for equity and not equality. Right. And there's a huge distinction between the two. And we talk about this very often. It's like, we have to understand what special need anyone has, what need period someone has that may not be the same way as someone else. Right. Perfect example is, we had in one of our centers, we had a student who was transgender, and as the student was transitioning out, understanding that, hey, there may be additional resource that person needs, that they need to know that's available to them, that we can align them with, or we could assign them. So we do have it's an endearing population, because they resonate with me quite a bit. Right. That we need to provide more of a support. If you think about it, the way I always think about it, I feel very, very blessed that even though, I didn't grow up in affluent. I grew up in New York. I didn't grow up with a lot of money, but still, food on the table. I was
Right.
able to get an education. I was able to do that, and I had great support from a Caribbean background.
Mhm.
But we have students where they're in school and they may have a learning disability, but it's not, thinking back 15, 20, that it wasn't something that at a maybe at in a community where there are limited resources in a public school system, that they
Mhm.
don't think that there's actually a student has a learning disability, that they learn differently
Right,
instead
right.
of instead of hey, I can't read.
Exactly.
It's I read differently.
Differently,
To
right.
provide that support to them.
Mhm.
Um, and so one of the things we try, and then you have a student like who's experienced that, who comes to our center, and when I tell, it's like, you have to remember that what you may have been given, you're growing up, it may not be the same experience that that person had encountered. So
Right.
we do have to look at differently. We have to look at things that we need to do to support them, because at the Job Corps Center, they do, about each of our students receive basic health care,
Mhm.
um, mental health support,
Mhm.
and if they tested positive for substance abuse, they provide support as well
Wow.
from to recover from substance abuse.
Mhm.
So it's a lot that we do for this wonderful population that we serve.
Right. Yeah, you have wraparound services, which are really, really
Definitely.
great. And yeah, a lot of places don't have that. So you talked about, being very passionate about this. Can you share what your career path has been to, have a seat at the table, so to speak?
I appreciate that. I don't even think I've ever thought about being here, to be honest with you. Um, I'm born and raised in New York. Even though I live in Washington D.C., I'm still a New Yorker at heart. I will always say it till the end of time. I am a New Yorker, and you can't take it
Right.
out of me. And you
Got
can tell
it.
my accent comes out. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
I love it. Um, but like I said earlier, I grew up in the Caribbean. My family's Haitian, so
Okay.
to my Haitian community, hello. Um, and I grew up in a community in a household where my parents believed that education was critical, and I
Mhm.
didn't think I had even had a choice of not going to college. It was like, okay, which one are you going to? Except my
Mhm.
mother would not let me go away. As much as I
Mm.
wanted to go away to school, it was like, no, you're staying home. You could go to school in New York City. You'll live at home in it. So I was fortunate to be able to do that. And at 18, um, as old as 18, you're looking for a summer job. The summer job just happened to be the federal government.
Mm.
I started with the federal government at 18 years old, and now
Mhm.
30 years later, this year, I am still in the federal government. Um,
Wow.
so most of my career has been through. I've moved up to the chains, working for several agencies within the Department of Labor.
Mhm.
And my area has really has always been the operation side of things. I like to see how things run and do like the elbow agency, the elbow
Right.
support group that really makes it happen. But
Mhm.
one thing that kept me within the federal government is this feeling of me having an impact. And
Okay.
that's where my passion comes in.
Mhm.
Whether I was doing as a support in a support area, or whether it's IT, HR, budget, I still felt like I was making an impact. So
Mhm.
the agencies I've worked for, like the Wage and Hour Division, which enforces minimum wage
Mm.
and overtime. This is where, again, low income in communities are really are at times very much taken advantage
Right.
with the hours that they work. So
Yeah.
seeing that, like, $1,000 check to someone, where it means like it's like rent for a month or a month and a
Mhm.
half.
Yeah.
So seeing those, that's what drives me and got me to where I want to be. Um,
Mhm.
my experience, a few years ago, I was the head of the Job Corps budget office, and that's what exposed me to Job Corps, and I started visiting
Okay.
the centers. So when this opportunity came up, and to actually lead it, I was like, oh, wait a minute. This is where actually we get to touch, and I talk about this often. Um, uh, our program is, especially us in the federal government, because it's always like Washington's bureaucracy of people who
Right.
make the rules and they do nothing.
Yeah.
But this program is where you actually get to touch the community that you serve. You know, I can go to any center across the country, which I do. I travel to the centers and visit, get to talk to our students, get to hear their thoughts about what's working, what's not working, what I need to do, what I need to change differently. Because at the end of the day, I'm grateful to have the opportunity to have a global impact,
Right.
rather just to that one area, one person.
For sure, for sure. So I love that you get to travel and actually have a direct conversation with students. And that leads me to my next question. Like, you target young adults 16 to 24. And how does the team at Job Corps get them excited and engaged in these opportunities in terms of their future around like the industries you all cover, like manufacturing, automotive, construction, finance, business, healthcare, hospitality, which, you know, that's an interesting, as we get out of the pandemic and come out of COVID, you know, should definitely be a lot of opportunities there. So talk to me about how you get them excited and engaged. And then even if you have some success stories of people that have come out of the program.
Oh, absolutely. So one of the things that we do, if you look at your experience of Job Corps, it's divided into sections of the life cycle at Job Corps. So of course, we want to get you excited from the outreach point of view. If you watch our social media platform between Instagram and Twitter and all of them, our message is like, hey, come. Look, these are we highlight students who are there. But keep in mind, the one thing I think that works really well for us is that we are self-paced. You are not coming in September when the school year is starting. You are not coming at the beginning of semester. You can come in anytime. Every Tuesday, student come on center. That's how designated day for student coming on center is Tuesday. So when a student comes on center, they have a period of time where it's just assessing them. So we have a system where they're trying to determine what their interests are, and what they determine is the area that they want to go to. They are able to do job shadowing or training shadowing, for lack of better words, to say, hey, this is something I want to try if I don't want to try. And they have the option, if they think they like it and they tried it and they want to revert to something different, they have that option also. One of the things I recently visited the Edison Job Corps Center in New Jersey. And one thing that was so amazing, and I took a picture with these young ladies, is to find women in non-traditional work. They were they were building, they were carpenters, they were welders, they were plumbers. I was like, oh my God, you guys are making my day. Because one of the challenges we have is Job Corps tends to attract a lot of young men rather than women. But we're like, yes, you can do this. You can come. Anybody could do any trade.
Right.
And it's amazing. It's amazing to see that. And we welcome men in non-traditional trades, whatever it may be. The bottom line is you can do any, you could try various ones. Now, the one thing I do have to say, not every trade is available at every center.
Sure.
So as you do your assessment and determine what field you want to go to, you have the opportunity to go to that center, to a center that does provide that, and we cover that transportation.
Wow.
We do not. We will transport our students from their home to a different state or to a different city, in order to be able to participate in that training program. And we also have some advanced training that after they complete certain training in one center, that they could transfer to a different center that offers a specific advanced training that they have. One of the ones you talk about, success stories, we partnered at our Jacksonville Job Corps Center. We partnered a couple of years ago with Johnson & Johnson. And oh my goodness, these three young men, absolutely amazing. They were the first ones to participate in this program where Johnson Johnson created a training program within Jacksonville Job Corps Center to manufacture contact lenses.
Wow.
And when these students graduated the program, they were hired by Johnson and Johnson, making starting with $23 to $25 an hour.
Oh, wow.
That's, I mean, for if you think Jacksonville, Florida, it's a great start. And I had the opportunity to visit Johnson and Johnson exactly almost a year ago, just how they their work site and where our students would be where they would be hired to. Incredible how they are so employee focused in the support they provide employees at their facility.
Wow.
So it made my heart not that I said, okay, hiring our students, this is the kind of environment that they get to flourish and grow. And one of the members of leadership that I said that worked with me actually started from the very beginning at Johnson Johnson, and now is one of their executives, and he's shepherding that forward for students from Job Corps as well.
Wow.
When you talk about success, so I will brag. Like our biggest success story is George Foreman. Yes, it may have been like in the 60s when he was in the Job Corps.
Okay.
But one of the most famous person who graduated from Job Corps was Judge Foreman, and actually that is where he met his boxing coach that actually began his career.
Really?
Yes, believe it or not.
Yeah, very exciting. And I loved his grill.
Exactly. I still have my George Foreman grill.
Do you?
but it's very true. My understanding is a biopic being done somewhere.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully we keep an eye on it. Does come out because that shows that but that's where he met his trainer that actually that trained him to become a boxer and ultimately becoming the famous boxer that he was and that he became. But absolutely. in terms we have a number. There are a number of other success stories. We have students who've graduated and opened their own restaurants. We've had one student in particular who I met here when I met her a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago. When she graduated, she really wanted to go to, after she completed the program, she wanted to go to an HBCU, and she was recently last spring she was accepted to a couple HBCU and decided to attend Morgan State.
Wow.
So we have a number of them of students who've done really, really well. Again, back to the Edison Job Corps Center, one of the things I was very impressed with at the center is many of the staff there also were part of the program, including the center director who's leading the entire center.
Wow.
He is a graduate of Job Corps himself. So it's amazing of the impact that we've had on folks. Now, here's the thing though. I say everything you do, whether it's education, whether you're going to school, whether you're going to taking, it's what you make it. You come in for the will to learn and be part of the program, part of the process. You will succeed. So everything you do, if you have a positive attitude, it leads to positivity at the end. So
and that's
like I'm rambling.
no, but that was very, very good. Great success stories. What I also heard in there is we know that this cohort, this group of young people are very interested in entrepreneurship, and this is a place where they can get that skill set instead of just jumping out there and starting a business and then letting it fail. You're getting a strong foundation and skill set, building relationships, building networks, so that when you launch your business, you're positioned even better for success. So I loved hearing that.
Absolutely.
I would love, as we kind of wind down our time here, do you have any advice for diverse candidates when seeking jobs, or even those who are looking to reskill for a new job and career, and kind of what they should be considering, given that you're, looking at this cohort and how they're increasing their skill sets for industries?
I would do research. Really get comfortable into where you want to go, what you want to do, and research what employers are looking for. I have to tell you, it's also good to research the employer, understanding their history. And I said this when I'm hiring anyone, and I'm talking to anyone about development. We get to be intimidated when we are intimidated when we are being interviewed. You know, you schedule an interview. Oh my God, I want them to like me. It should always be two ways, because you have to determine whether that job that you are seeking is also the right fit for you. And I think this is part of the things that I appreciate about this generation, because I grew up in a generation where I have to get the right job. I'm interviewing for that right job. I'm wearing my navy blue suit to get that right job, but not think about it's going to make me great money, but not think about once I go in, is it a good fit for me? This generation that I appreciate is asking the right questions. Is you are interviewing me, but I'm also going to interview you, because I want to make sure that when I'm here, I'm happy. So asking, if you're interviewing, asking about the culture of the organization. You may want to talk with other employees, engage on how well they do. Right now with work-life balance, you know, engaging, making feel like I'm part of the organization. So as you're seeking employment, really look at that, but also looking at what are their shortage. I did that with one organization. What are their shortages? Even in diversity. You know, if I know, because I did this once where I applied to an organization where I knew they had no African American in the executive leadership, leadership grant. I said, okay, I know what my qualifications are. So they need to be diverse. And are they looking for diversity? If they are, I'm going to be that best applicant on that list. And did all my research to find out what they do, where they are, what's happening, where they've been, what their vision, what their strategic plan is. And so, and link in my responses, like all my responses to what I know they were looking for. So that's advice.
No, that's great advice. And it sparked another question that I want to grab at you before you go, is around equity at these companies and inclusion at these companies. Job Corps works with a lot of, as you said earlier, low income folks who are, you know, looking at high demand industries. How the companies that you're working with, how do you either discuss with them or, you know, have them well positioned to make sure that they are representative from an equity and inclusion standpoint for these very excited young people who are coming into the industries?
It goes back to the interview questions when you're going in. And I would personally ask, and I don't think it's inappropriate to do, as you're if you are, that's quick role playing in 30 seconds or less. Is thank you for this interview. I have a couple of questions. One of the questions is how do you distinguish equity from, how do you distinguish equity and equality? And can you tell me a bit about what you've done in your organization to make sure equity is applied to your day-to-day operation?
Right. Okay. Yeah. And they can better have that answer.
But it's true. It's like, and that's where you gauge them and to see where you're coming from, because you want to know. And the thing about it is, I want to remind folks, equity doesn't always have to do with race. And I don't want people to think like, this is okay, I'm African American, that I'm looking for to be the African American person there. And they don't have equity is a lot. It could be how you treat me, because I may be an older generation, I'll be a younger generation. I could be someone with disability. You know, there's a lot that it revolves into that allows you to determine, you know, it could be you could judge by the type of language that they use. So for one of the things I'm trying to deviate from with this program is stop using the words high school dropout. That's a negative connotation to it. So those kind of thing, when you're having these conversations, you kind of gauge the terms that they are using to see does it feel like you're feeling diminished if you were to fit into the category, or do you feel empowered? So it's like a psychological game at times.
For sure. For sure. And I know that our audience that is mostly, Black, brown folks who read our publication, the job unemployment numbers are always relatively higher in those communities juxtaposed to the general market. So please share with our audience where they can get more information about Job Corps and just learn more about the opportunities that you all have.
Mhm. So definitely for Job Corps is jobcorps.gov. We are very simple. If you go to jobcorps.gov, you find all the information that you need. You'll find information about the centers. You find information about enrollment. You can call any of our center and ask questions. You can visit the center to determine whether it's somewhere you would like to be or be part of. So you're definitely able to do that. The other piece of it is our program are operated by contractors, and they are always looking for staff themselves. If you're interested in working with youth, you could always call that center and say, hey, I am looking for employment. I have a background in youth education. I'm a retired teacher. Or I taught and I like working with young adults. You can definitely reach out. Especially in this market, we have quite a bit of vacancies at our centers too, because like everybody else, people are speaking up and saying, you know what, this is not working for me. I am leaving. I'm going to where I want to be. So I say, tell everybody, take advantage of that, because there are several opportunities out there. But look at our website. Job Corps is 121 location. If you pick a location, call, ask for information, you will get it.
Wonderful. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for joining me at our seat at the table conversation. This was fun. This was informative. And I really am excited about the opportunities that our audience could take advantage of, given all that you've shared today. So thank you again.
Thank you. And thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. I had fun.
Yay. Awesome. And thank you for joining again, our audience, for a seat at the table with Rolling Out.